안녕하세요. 미국주식으로 은퇴하기 미주은입니다. 이제 한국의 날씨는 깊어가는 가을 만추로 접어들었으리라 생각이 됩니다. 저와 제 가족이 지내는 이 보고르라는 곳은요, 1년 내내 더운 날씨를 보여주기는 하는데요. 10월 말 그리고 11월 정도가 되면요, 비가 자주 오는 우기로 접어들기 시작합니다. 그래서 요즘에는요, 오후 늦게가 되면 한 차례씩 소나기가 지나가는 그런 곳에 저는 살고 있습니다. 여러분들 한국의 날씨가 조금 더 쌀쌀해지기 전에요. 깊어가는 가을 날씨 저 대신 잘 만끽하시길 바랍니다. 미주은 채널에서는요. 최근에 데이브 리와의 인터뷰 영상을 보내드리면서 테슬라라는 기업에 의도하지 않은 집중을 하고 있습니다. 때마침 오늘 아침에는요. 테슬라의 분기 어닝 보고가 있었습니다. 다행히 시장의 예상치보다 매출 그리고 프로핏 모두 아주 건강한 결과를 보여주었습니다. 그래서 오늘 데이브 리와의 마지막 영상은요, 여러분들 가벼운 마음으로 함께 하실 수 있을 것이라 생각됩니다. 데이브 리와의 인터뷰는요, 총 3부분으로 나누어져 있습니다. 첫 번째 영상에서는요, 데이브 리의 테슬라 투자 여정이라는 제목으로 보내드렸는데요. 데이브 리가 어떻게 해서 8년 전에 테슬라에 투자를 시작하게 됐는지, 그리고 그 오랜 시간 동안 그렇게 변동성이 큰 테슬라 주식을 아직까지도 팔지 않고 50배 이상의 수익을 올릴 때까지 계속 보유할 수 있었는지 그 비결을 한번 알아봤고요. 두 번째 영상은요, 데이브 리가 추천하는 제2의 테슬라는 이라는 제목으로 우리가 6가지의 기업 종목을 함께 공부하는 기회를 가졌습니다. 오늘 보내드릴 세 번째 영상은요, 데이브 리가 바라보는 테슬라의 미래라는 주제로 함께 공부해 보도록 하겠습니다. 10월 22일 목요일 방송의 제목은요, 데이브 리와 함께 계산해보는 5년 후 테슬라의 기업 가치라고 정해봤습니다. 오늘 영상 마지막 부분에서는요, 여러분들 깜짝 놀랄 만한 서프라이즈도 준비되어 있으니까요, 끝까지 오늘 방송 함께 해주시기 바랍니다. 그럼 바로 시작합니다.
Let's go back to Tesla. So when you see Tesla, apparently you are still holding the stocks, which means you still see some potential growth in the future. So from now, let's say in about 5 years' time or 10 years' time, where do you see the stock growing? And then what kind of company Tesla will be?
Yeah, so Tesla is a fascinating company. I think Elon Musk claims and says that he thinks Tesla can grow 50% per year until 2030. Now, I don't know if I believe that completely. And so that's why I think maybe Tesla can grow 40% per year. But maybe even less, but maybe their growth might happen even from 2030. It might need to grow like from year 10 to 20, even more. So
Are we talking about the revenue growth or stock growth?
revenue growth.
Revenue growth.
Yeah, revenue growth. Yeah. And so the key to Tesla, in my opinion, is to say, okay, Tesla is selling 500,000 cars this year. And if they can grow 40 to 50% every year in terms of the number of cars they sell. So Elon Musk has a goal of 20 million cars in 2030. Now, even if Tesla doesn't sell 20 million cars, even if they sell 10 to 15 million cars in 2030, if they're still growing very fast, let's say they're growing 30 or 40%, the market will give a very high multiple for that company in 2030.
Sure.
And so the way I look at it is the next 5 years, let's calculate 500,000 vehicles at a 50% growth rate. 750,000 vehicles next year, 2021, then 1.1 million vehicles in 2022, then let's say 7 vehicles in 2023. In 2025, I think it'll be around 3 million vehicles. If the average sales price is $40,000 per vehicle, that's $120 billion in revenue.
Yes.
And the way I like to analyze it is you take the profit margin of $120 billion. I think Tesla can have a 15 to 20% profit margin if they stopped their growth spending. So if they became more conservative, didn't spend in growth, their profit margin, I think, would be about 15 or 20%. But the actual profit will be less because they're going to be spending more money to grow the company faster. So the actual net profit figure might be 10%, but I think if they stop growing, it'd be more 15 to 20%. So I use that figure, and I wrote down kind of the figure is the profit would be 18 to 24 billion dollars. And if I give a multiple of 40 or 50 times that amount, so let's say 40 times $18 billion, that's $720 billion. Or if I do 50 time multiple off of, let's say, $24 billion, that's $1.1 trillion. The general framework I use is a 10 times multiple you'll give to a company that's not really growing much. For 20 time multiple, you'll give that to a company that's growing. 20 to 30 multiple is a company that's growing decently fast, maybe 10 or 20% a year. You might give a 40 to 50% multiple to a company that's growing very fast, maybe 30% even, or 40% a year. But that multiple, people get very confused because the actual profit of a fast growing company is very low. So sometimes that's why you might see, oh, this company has 100 times or 200 times multiple. But if you take that fast growing company and you calculate what I call potential profit, meaning you reduce their operating expenses as if they're not spending that much on growth. So you limit their operating expenses, then you'll see they have a greater profit margin. And then you give a multiple off of that number, it's usually 40 to 50 times. Yeah, even though it looks like 100 or 200 times multiple, that's because the actual profit is lower. But it still includes a lot of the growth spending, the spending they're giving for the future. But if you reduce that and the company is not spending as much for the future, then the profit is going to be higher than even the non-GAAP profit. Yeah, and that's what I like to calculate because to me, 100, 200 times profit, it doesn't make any sense. I like 40 to 50 times usually, the multiple. But I need to calculate that potential profit. And so for Tesla, the potential profit is $18 to $24 billion in 2025. And I think because they're going fast, the market will give a 40 to 50 times multiple around that. And so, yeah, we're looking at 700 billion to 1.1 trillion, but that is probably just for auto vehicle sales.
That's right. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so they also have some other businesses that are very unclear in terms of when they will happen and how big they become. For example, Robo Taxi. How big will Robo Taxi become by 2025? Nobody knows because we don't know when Robo Taxi is going to come out and how fast it's going to grow. But there's potential for it to really surprise people. And if it really surprises people, then people can give a high valuation for Robo Taxi, part of Tesla. And then there's also Tesla Energy with the power packs, the mega packs, and the solar roofs. And right now, most people are giving very little valuation to Tesla for that part of the business. But if that grows, that can also be a significant part of the business. But I kind of like to be conservative. And I say, okay, Robotaxi and Tesla Energy and other parts, I don't like to count it fully right now. I don't really like to focus on it because who knows what will happen, right? I think the auto business is the most kind of clear business for Tesla right now. It's very clear they can grow, I think, their business 40 to 50% every year in the foreseeable future. And if that happens, it's pretty easy to calculate the revenue, the gross profit, and the net profit and the multiples that I think the market might give.
What about the competitions? Tesla is number one, but do you think we have a good chance to keep that place in the future after 5 years, 10 years time when other traditional motor makers start to focus on electric vehicle? What is the chance to keep the market number one position for Tesla?
Yeah, I think Tesla has two main advantages. One is they have a very strong technology and innovation and manufacturing advantage. So for example, with batteries, they're improving their batteries faster than other companies are improving their batteries. And they're manufacturing their cars quicker and more efficient, and it costs less to manufacture. They're changing even the infrastructure of the car by making it easier to manufacture. No other company is moving as fast as Tesla in terms of battery and manufacturing. And so that gives Tesla an advantage where they could continually lower the price of their car and increase the range and performance. The second advantage Tesla has is software. And because Tesla is a tech company, they have a lot of the best software engineers working on autonomous driving. And one of the strategies of Tesla going forward is they are willing to take a lower price for their car. They might even sell their car later for like near at cost. Very, very cheap. Like you think like, Model 3 is cheap now, wait till later. It could actually get cheaper and cheaper because Tesla doesn't need to make margin on the Model 3 because they can make margin off of the full self-driving option that people buy on top of the car. So it's kind of like printers. Like printers, the printer company doesn't make money on the printer. They make money on the ink. People buying ink over and over and over.
Yeah, that's
Same thing.
right.
Tesla doesn't need to make money on the car. They can make money on the software, the
Software.
option to full self-driving, autonomous driving. If Tesla does that, I don't know how other companies are going to compete, because other car companies, they need to make money on their cars to survive, right? Because they don't have the autonomous driving, software. And right now, Tesla is beating out not just other automakers with autonomous driving, but they're beating out even other software companies. So they're beating out the Google and Intel, like NVIDIA, Mobileye. Tesla, in my opinion, is by far the strongest player in autonomous driving. So that's the path forward for Tesla. Tesla will continually lower their price of their cars, increase their performance. They will take lower margin on their cars to get more volume, but they will make up the margin with software by providing autonomous software. And that's how they're going to make a lot of money in the future, I think.
So at the moment, I believe that the portion of the revenue from software is less than 10%, right? So you think that portion will keep growing in the future? What kind of percentage are you expecting?
Yeah, so I mean, I think generally like Tesla can bring down the cost of the car lower, and then I think more and more people are going to use their car with autonomous driving, especially 2 or 3 or 5 years down the road. And I think over time, Tesla can charge a good maybe $15,000 or even $20,000, for autonomous driving option, and they can make their cars very cheap. Maybe charge $20,000 or $25,000 for their car, but just have a $15,000 autonomous driving option, right? And that's pure profit because it's software, right? So if you take $15,000 option off of a $20,000 car, that's like what 45% margin right there. That's actually very impressive, right? It's not guaranteed, but that's kind of the theory right now that I think Tesla has.
You have been holding Tesla stocks for 8 years now. So how would you know that it is time to sell? Because in the future, one day you have to make a decision. How would you recognize that timing?
Yeah, I mean, great question. My original plan was to start selling Tesla stock after they reach Model 3 production ramp. So after, about 500,000 cars a year, I would sell a few percent every year after that. And I would, over 10 years, maybe I sell 20 or 30% of my holdings and just continue to sell over time. One of the reasons is because I don't really need that money for myself or for my family. So we're fine. So that money to sell is really just to make new investments, actually. And I'm starting to reconsider my exit plan because, I've taken some money out of Tesla, but I'm scared right now of taking too much money out of Tesla because Tesla looks much stronger now than I ever thought it could be in 2020.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think the future of Tesla in 10 years, I still think people don't understand it because I think Tesla can sell, 10 to 20 million cars in 2030, but the future of Tesla is actually between 2030 and 2040. That's the most exciting time for Tesla because I think from 2030 to 2040, Tesla potentially could capture 30 to 50% of the auto market. globally.
Really?
Yeah, so if they do 10 to 20 million cars by 2030, they could do double that, or more in the next decade. And then by 2030, I think their energy, Tesla energy, is going to start to grow faster now at that time. And so from 2030 to 2040, you're going to have a huge business of Tesla energy. It's going to be like a huge growth company that's going to mature. And then you have Robo Taxi. I think Robo Taxi from now until 2025, it's going to be the beginning stages.
Sure.
And once you get 2025 to 2030, it's going to grow. But from 2030, it's going to even grow faster. So 2030 to 2040, in my opinion, for Tesla, is going to be kind of like the golden age for Tesla. Also, if Elon Musk is able to stick around and continue to be CEO for that time, there's a 70 to 80% chance, in my opinion, that Tesla releases an electric vertical takeoff and landing jet in Tesla company. Like I have a friend, he asked Elon Musk this question in a shareholder meeting several years ago. And the question was, if Tesla makes an electric vertical takeoff landing jet, will it go under Tesla or will it go under SpaceX?
Okay.
Right? And Elon,
Interesting.
yeah, Elon seemed to say that it would go under Tesla. That was
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was not 100% clear, but it seemed like it would go under Tesla. And Tesla still has many other products. Like for example, they have a van they need to make. They have maybe RV. They need to make lots of different types of cars. They have also home air conditioning that they're going to go into. Elon Musk is very interested in it. But I look at Elon Musk as he is kind of like the Edison, the Thomas Edison of our age. He is kind of like the greatest inventor / businessman in our generation. Much, much more ambitious than Steve Jobs. And I think as an investor, when I look back, let's say 30 years from now, do I want to say like, hey, I invested in the Thomas Edison, the greatest inventor, businessman in the past 200 years. He might be actually become the greatest inventor, businessman ever. Like, I kind of want to, like, I think about that often. And I go, how many shares do I want to sell right now? Or should I try to keep as much as I can? So I'm starting to change my mind. I'm thinking maybe I will try to keep as much as I can, and I will use other income that I can generate for new investments. But I'm still kind of undecided with that. So my opinion is, yeah, I think, I want to hold Tesla for at least 10 years or 20 years longer.
From now.
Yeah, and I might, decrease my position a few percent every year, but later on, I think Tesla will give dividends, maybe in 10 years from now, and I think the dividends will actually be pretty significant. So if I hold enough shares, actually that dividend will be actually quite high, and that could be used for a lot of other investments as well.
Yeah, in your case, the dividend will be higher than the stock price.
Yeah, like the $6 price that I bought it at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I can see that you speak quite highly of Elon Musk. How old is Elon Musk? Do you know?
Yeah, I think he's like 47, 48.
Okay, so which means he might have another 10 years to contribute, right? So I agree
maybe 20, like, because if he's late 40s, he could go till probably late 60s without any problem. Yeah.
So 15 to 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
So yes, I totally agree that you cannot really see the value out of Tesla without talking about Elon Musk. So which means once he departs from Tesla, the value of the company will decrease dramatically. So that could be another consideration then when you sell the stock.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Without Elon Musk, Tesla is a different company. I mean, on one side, Tesla has so much innovation and products that they've already developed. So for example, with Battery Day that they announced, they've been working on those developments for many years, actually. It's been probably at least 2 or 3 years. And so, for example, with the Cybertruck, when it comes out next year, this is something that Tesla has been working on for many, many years. And when they release their $25,000 car in, I think, about 3 years, this is something that Tesla it's already, in a way, finished in terms of all of the major pieces. Tesla has already invested so much time and energy. The $25,000 car that Tesla releases in 3 years, in my opinion, it's 70% done already. It's some finishing pieces, the design and some other pieces. So even if Elon Musk leaves today, there's still, like, for the next 5 years, Tesla can do very well with its products. My big concern is Elon Musk, he gives so much more future, like he gives so much potential to the future, not just in the next 5 years, but the next 20 years. And so that's why without Elon Musk, I'm not as excited about Tesla's investment. I think without Elon Musk, the stock drops maybe half. And the potential is still strong the next 5 years, but after that, I question some of the potential of Tesla.
Sure. So as a very experienced investor for Tesla, what would be your advice to the Korean investors who just jump into a Tesla stock? What kind of investment strategy or advice would you like to give to them?
Yeah, I mean, I probably, your viewers might not like this advice, but I'll just share my straight, honest opinion.
Yeah, sure.
First, I think people need to think and ask themselves, like, why didn't they buy Tesla earlier? Yeah, because everyone asks, or should I buy Tesla now, today? Is it too expensive?
Yeah.
But my question is okay, first, why didn't you buy it 6 months ago, even, or 3 months ago, or 1 year ago? Why is it right now you want to buy it? And so I like to question the person's research process and their decision-making process. And I think a lot of times, sometimes people buy stock because the price rises and they think it's going to always rise. And so the higher the stock price, actually, oftentimes it brings in more buyers, more enthusiasm. And so I question that a lot of times, actually. I question people who buy stock just after it, it's rising so much. My advice is to forget the stock price for right now and just focus on spending as much time as you can on researching the company. Right? Pretend the stock price is unknown. You have no idea about the stock price. Just research the company. Find out, how good their product is. Find out their strategy for the future, and try to come up with your own stock price, your own market cap valuation, without any idea of the market, price. Only think of, your research and come up with your own valuation right now and in the future, right? And I think that's the best way to evaluate whether or not you should buy Tesla or not. Because if you see the valuation, you calculate it and go, oh, I think it could be higher. I think you can make some decisions, but there's always risk, and that's why I like to say people need to research, make their own type of figures. That's the best way.
So when you talk about research, where do you usually get the information and data, especially for Tesla? What kind of channels would you recommend to visit and have a look?
Yeah, I mean, first off, you need to go on Twitter and follow Elon Musk, because he gives so much news on Twitter about Tesla. Yeah. So you need to do that. I personally like to focus on the information companies give out, and I call that first source information. So company annual reports, company quarterly reports, company investor relations, any interviews with the CEO or management company, like all of that information is top priority. Like that, this is the most important type of information. The second level information is the product owners. How are people liking the product and all of that? To me, sometimes the extra news, like what happens today about Tesla or last week about Tesla, a lot of times that can be distraction. It could distract people from not focusing on first source information. What's really important in the long term is is this company executing, creating by far the best product, right? And are they increasing their lead? And are they, going into bigger and bigger markets? And a lot of times when you look at the news, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I have my channel, is because like my wife, she gets so emotional sometimes with the news, right?
Yeah.
She gets so excited and so down and about Tesla news and stuff. So one of the reasons why I create my channel is to calm my wife down, you know, because she watches all of my videos. So I have to. Before I did it before my YouTube channel, I used to calm her down one-on-one. And she would thank me every day. She'd go, "Oh, David, thank you so much." And now she doesn't even talk to me about Tesla. She just waits for my videos.
All right.
Yeah, but there's so much emotion, right, with the news and different stuff. And in my videos, I like to calm people down, right? I go, "Hey, what's important? You know, is it really this news item, or is it really like the company's products, you know, and the company's, you know, execution?" I don't know. I have my reservations about encouraging people to follow the news so closely. You know, I think you need to, but most of the news, most people can't handle emotionally. They don't know how to process it.
Of course.
Yeah, so I think it's important to learn how to process it. And I mean, that's my channel, but yeah, I think your channel too helps people to research, you know, and focus on the pros and cons of each company too.
At the end of the day, stock investment is also psychological game. The way you control your emotion takes a big part of your investment strategy, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
All right, Dave, I think that's it for today.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you here. Maybe in the future, what we can arrange is even having a questions from my audience about Tesla, and maybe you can answer immediately and so on.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Great. Charles, I'm wondering, 제가 한국말 조금 할 줄 압니다.
오늘 제가 준비한 내용은 여기까지입니다. 이번 인터뷰의 주인공 데이브는요, 한국인 2세 교포이십니다. 나중에 한국어로도 대화를 좀 나눠봤는데요. 한국어 실력도 나쁘지 않습니다. 그래서 나중에는요, 제가 한국어 인터뷰도 한번 기획해 보도록 하겠습니다. 기대해 주시고요. 여러분들 잘 아시는 것처럼 미준이라는 유튜브 채널은요, 장기적인 안목을 가지고 만들어진 소통의 장입니다. 그래서 앞으로도 현재의 모습에 안주하지 않고요. 여러분들 10년, 15년 함께 하실 때 지루하지 않으시도록 항상 새로운 포맷과 아이디어로 양질의 컨텐츠를 조금이라도 재미있게 공유해 드릴 수 있도록 최선을 다하도록 하겠습니다. 우리 모두가 미국 주식 투자로 은퇴하는 그날까지 다 함께 화이팅입니다. 행복한 하루 되세요. 감사합니다.